Draft is lit. Draft is lit. Remember, this is Superflex. Superflex, and we got 4 bench spots now. 4 bench spots. I've done a couple drafts starting 2 running backs like Bijan and Saquon. Really hampers. I'm assuming hampers my receivers this season. Seems like you got to take a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. Better depth at running back. I don't agree with that. I think the value is with running back early. So I think taking one elite receiver before the first 15 go is probably a must, because otherwise you do get into that territory where you're getting a lot more questionable players. You're getting the Cooper Kupps, the your Devontae Smiths, your Jalen Waddles. You want to kind of get a receiver before that range if you can get one. So sometimes you might be able to swing like a Deebo Samuel in the 3rd. So I don't necessarily think that's the end of the world. Right before you. Okay, bet. Let's see what you got, Gabe. Let's see what you got. You're right before me. I don't know if you want that, bruh. Oh, we can't have auto drafters already. We can't have 2 auto drafters. Make sure you get back in if you can. In a 10-man and 12-man, 1 flex, 1 QB league. How much you prioritize tight end and QB? How early? Who to target? So I would say this. In a 10-man league, I'm not prioritizing quarterback and tight end. There's plenty, especially in 1 tight end, 1 quarterback. I'm not prioritizing that at all. In a 12-man, if the value falls good enough for a quarterback, now I'm going to take one. I'll take like an Anthony Richardson, or like Dak and Jordan Love tend to fall, Brock Purdy. But I'm not prioritizing I got to go grab a quarterback early in any league, right? Quarterback, there's a lot of value. You get guys like Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff later in your draft. So I'm not really prioritizing much of that, to be honest with you. Quarterback's a position I typically wait on unless you're in a 6-point league, a 6-point per passing touchdown. You think Brock Bowers can be a top 5 fantasy tight end at some point in his career, maybe? And not with Devontae Adams on the team. Devontae Adams would have to go down. Put it that way. Devontae Adams would clearly have to be out in order for Brock Bowers to even have that potential. And I don't see it. Think like Dalton Kincaid last year. Even when Dalton Kincaid had a little bit more, he wasn't a top 5 guy. He had some really good performances, but I don't think Brock Bowers would be top 5 with Minshew. I just don't see that. I feel like Justin Henry hates Olave and it's personal for no reason. Why do I hate him? You think I hate him? I don't hate anybody. I got no hating bone in my body. Let's see. What are we going to do here in Superflex? 12-team with a bench. So 2 running backs are off the board, McCaffrey and Bijan. We got 5 receivers here, Tyreek Hill, Jettas, CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, and Chase. So the top 5 guys are gone. Now, I could go stretch out and get CJ Stroud. I think Anthony Richardson is probably my 5th quarterback off the board. I'm not going to take him right now, though. I'm going to go with Breece Hall because I think he'll have a phenomenal year. And then I'm also going to grab A.J. Brown here. And I'm going to take care of my receiver and my running back pillars. I'll see what quarterbacks are left when we come back around. So it's easy to get enamored with, hey, I got to grab a quarterback in Superflex. It's okay. Sometimes people can load up on 2 strong quarterbacks and you feel confident in grabbing guys later on. But for me, I'm going to get some positional players, especially because I think I can find value with those guys early on here in the draft. But when it comes to hating players, I never hate any player. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's no point in me hating on a player. They're all phenomenal. They're all, top end players. Hating on Chris Olave is hating on a top 15 receiver. It's hating on the situation, hating on the draft value. Why would I take a guy with no upside as a top 12 receiver when I can do better? That's how I think of fantasy, right? Why would I hate Chris Olave? He's a good receiver. He's just not a 100 catch guy. He's not a 10 touchdown guy. And I want to win my fantasy league. That's what it comes down to. And he don't have the potential to help me do that. So, yeah, if I get good value on him in the 3rd round, maybe I'm looking, but there might even be some other receivers that I like in that area. So to say I hate on a player, it's a little harsh. I don't really hate anybody, but I think I hate value. I hate bad value. And if I can get a Deebo Samuel, a Mike Evans, there's a lot of Brandon Ayuk, they all go after Chris Olave. Why would I take Chris Olave over those guys? You know what I mean? That's where I'm at. So it definitely above some of the running backs. You talk about guys like Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara. I'm not taking Chris Olave over those guys. So if you like Chris Olave and you think he could break out into like the 100 catch range, or maybe you think he's a 12 to 10 touchdown guy, then that's when you take a receiver like that, right? I was kind of like that with DJ Moore too. DJ Moore was consistently 1,204, 1,204, 1,104, 1,105. That was DJ Moore. I stayed away from that. On the Bears, he had an outlier year. He had a crazy year, but it took him 6 years to do that after everybody hyped him up. So I don't play that way. I'm like, yo, it's not personal. It's just like, I don't want that kind of potential on my team. I have a lot more tolerance for like high risk players and high reward players versus like you're safe. I know I'm going to get 1,000 yards. I know I'm going to get 80 catches. I know I'm going to get 5 to 7 touchdowns. I don't like those players personally. I like more high upside, win your league type players. So that's why I'm off on Olave. No personal at all. I don't know these dudes. I don't know any of these motherfuckers, so they don't know me. Plain and simple. And it's no love lost. If I see them in person, I say, hey, I never had you on fantasy. You're a good receiver. I got no hate in my bone. Sorry if the draft didn't load for you guys. I know we have one auto team, but it baffles me that people think Mostert won't be issued. Doesn't he have a 32-year-old? Yeah, exactly. He hasn't been ran like a 32-year-old. So he's still got fresh legs. He's still fast. And in that offense, they're not requiring him to take like a lot of – that's what you're worried about for receivers, right? You're worried about like head-on collisions, and Mostert for his benefit actually hasn't been on the field a lot. So I agree. I'm like, he's still the starter. Mike McDaniel still talks about him as the starter. So I don't understand the concern when it comes to Mostert. I think he's a great value. Wakan said, like and subscribe to this man. He is the fantasy draft GOAT. Yo, we talking football, we talking fantasy. I'm up there with him. So you're right. You don't like and subscribe? What you doing here? What you doing here? He said, I want that. How do you feel about Breece Hall in the first round? I feel great about it. I think the only two I'd rather have clearly over him are McCaffrey and Bijan. And that's because I just don't see as much pass catching upside from Breece Hall. I think Aaron Rodgers, sometimes in the red zone, and like he likes to show off his arm a little bit more than like a Trevor Siemian did last year. So for me, I'm kind of out on Breece Hall being above Bijan, but it's either him or Saquon is up there like next for me. So, and I think I could find better value on Saquon later. So I think I'd take Breece. I think the market value for Breece Hall is higher. And sometimes that comes into effect too when you're talking about like trades in your league. You don't always want to just take the player you think is best. Sometimes you want to take market value too. And if you're wrong on a player, like say I'm wrong on Breece Hall and he does catch passes, and say I'm wrong on Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts is still doing all the tush push stuff. Now I've just missed out on value because of what I anticipated. So my anticipation is that Saquon's going to be a top 3 back this year. I think he's going to have a great, phenomenal season in Philly. I think Breece Hall is probably going to be somewhere in that range too and just not catch as many passes. But that's my thought. That's my anticipation. So you kind of got to rock with ADP a little bit differently. I could have reached and took Saquon. I took Breece. Harrison over Garrett Wilson and Puka. I don't see that. All right, let me get in this draft. It's my spot right here. So I don't have a quarterback right now. Only a couple quarterbacks have gone. There's still Dak, Kyler. There's still a lot of good quarterbacks left. I think I'm going to continue to add positional players here because I feel like I can probably find some value. I see Cooper Kupp down here. He's coming home. And then I want to go Debo. What running backs are left? Rashad White, H-Hand. Kamara's still here. Yeah, I'm taking Alvin. Actually, no. How much time I got? 15 seconds. I want to go Alvin here. I've been taking Alvin every draft, though. So I want to see how my draft comes out if I try a different strategy. I'm not going to take Alvin Kamara right here. I'm going to take a receiver. I've been taking Debo Samuel a lot too, but I'm going to go Debo. I want to see if I like my team without taking Kamara right there. So normally I would take Kamara. Just so y'all know, I probably would have took Kamara right there. But I'm going to see how this team turns out. All right. Harrison over Garrett Wilson and Puka Nacua. I don't see it. I just don't see how you can feel this way, right? Like, to me, that's that anticipation thing I'm talking about, right? Like, you have to really be confident that Marvin Harrison's going to be a 1,200-yard receiver. Like, Puka's probably going to be 1,100-yard, 1,200-yard at floor. Even if he missed a game or two, he'd probably be 1,100, 1,200 yards, right? Garrett Wilson, same thing. He's probably going to hover around 10 touchdowns with Rodgers. He's been 1,000 to 1,100-yard guy with Zach Wilson and no names at quarterback, right? So Rodgers coming in there is going to help his situation out. What's Harrison? What if he struggles out the gate early on? What if he doesn't match the hype? We got to see this guy on the NFL field and just put him over Garrett and Puka. It kind of feels like you're giving him something that you're anticipating him to be. You're drafting him at the ceiling. You're using Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and examples of rookie receivers who did well as the case for him now. And that's not fair to Marvin Harrison. He's got to play a whole career. Will he be great? My anticipation is yeah. But is there a lot of risk built into that? A great year for Marvin Harrison, honestly. Like if Marvin Harrison was 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns, you'd be like, damn, he had a strong rookie year. You know, like that means he would have had some games where he had 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. He had a game where, he had maybe 8 to 9 catches in a game. That's a strong season. It also might mean he had some tough matchups that he didn't know how to handle. And he had 3 catches for 30 yards in a game, or maybe he was injured for some of the time. Like, you got to be careful with just putting rookies and over established players. Be careful with it. You can hit. I'm not saying you can't hit on it. Just be careful with it, especially when you're ranking them and drafting them. Auto picked you. I hope, man. Sorry, bro. It's all good, Sonny G. We got mostly live in here, so we're all good. This sleeper app is terrible. Sorry, Jahan. I can't get back into the entire thing. Went blank and tried reinstalling. So the other option is, we'll continue drafting on other platforms. If you have another platform that you would rather draft on, let me know. Sleeper seems to be the easiest for everybody to get into. If you guys want Yahoo, ESPN, we can run those too. We got all off season, 2 months of this shit. So we got all off season, Jacob or whoever. If you guys see another platform you want to draft to, let me know. Like Anthony, I remember he was saying draft on ESPN. We got an ESPN draft the other day. So let me know what y'all looking for. Are we really worried about Rashid Shaheed, A.T. Perry? Bub means that will take off a lot of meaningful targets away from Olave receiver. No, but let me ask you this, JSC. Let me ask you this: who was there last year in New Orleans? Who was that? Who was there last year? What's the difference in New Orleans right now with this receiving core? Who was there? What's different now? Like, why would Clarence Olave's targets go up? The same quarterback, same set of running backs, same tight ends, same receivers. What changes? So why are we expecting this offense? The only thing that changes is the coordinator, offense coordinator, who said he wants to prioritize getting Alvin Kamara the ball a little bit more this year. Why are we expecting different from Olave? Is the skill set going to change? Right? Like, is the skill set going to change? Is it going to become a different receiver? Is he going to grow 3 inches and add 15 pounds to his frame? What's going to change with Chris Olave that makes you think he's going to get more targets? I'd be curious to know. Would you take Breece Hall or Bijan Robinson over Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first round? Not really, but I don't think it's too far off. Like, if you want to take Bijan over St. Brown, I'm not going to be like mad at you. I prefer to get a receiver right there, and I think St. Brown's a pretty safe, like 1,300-yard floor guy. So I'm not really like, if you want to take Breece or Bijan and you feel like you want to get receivers later, go ahead and do it. I think getting a running back kind of in this year's draft, the top like 7 players, 8 players maybe are kind of interchangeable, right? If you think Bijan or Breece Hall is going to be the RB1, take one of those guys, right? Justin Jefferson, Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, they all got, they all have high floors and high ceilings. You want to take one of those guys, it doesn't matter. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to ADP this year. It kind of feels like get the guy you want in the top 8. Then I think in like the next 8 to 15 range, there's probably another set of guys like your Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, players that fall, right? So you want to kind of just find the players that you like. And we're going to look at schedule here over the next month. I'll have my rankings, but you kind of got to draft players based on your league too. So it's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to fantasy. Like, you'll find me taking different players at different times in different drafts, just being real with you. Dak's still here? Cool. Dak, and then I might as well get Kyler too. The value's too good right now, bro. Superflex, let me just get my guys. Let me just get my guys, bro. Let me just get my guys. Yeah, so Superflex, if I can get good quarterbacks later, I'll get good quarterbacks. I don't mind doing that. I was looking at those guys, but one of them last round. So happen to get both of them, I'll take it. Are we really worried about Rashid? I answered this one. If you're in a triple flex, one QB, what does triple flex mean? You have three flex players or three flexes in one spot? Tony, tell me what you mean by triple flex. I don't even know what that means. Is that three flex spots? One QB, one tight end league would have Caleb and Jaden Daniels be enough to start or wait for upside. That's too risky. You got two rookies in your lineup. That's too risky. Too risky. You need to have one stable if you're going to do that because, yeah, Jaden Daniels can hit and Caleb can hit. But what if they both tank? You're essentially like starting from scratch now because both of those rookies are going to play the whole year. If they start and they suck, they're both playing the whole year. It doesn't matter. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but like if you can get, especially in a one QB league, I guess in a one QB league, that's not bad. But why take Jaden Daniels and Caleb? You might as well get Jaden Daniels and Kirk, Jaden Daniels and Goff, Jaden Daniels and Aaron Rodgers, Jaden Daniels and like somebody a little bit more stable. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no need to get two rookies, two question marks. I just don't see the need for that. So I would just get somebody more stable instead. But I mean, if those are your options, it ain't bad. It ain't bad. You probably start Jaden. I think you'll be able to start Jaden Daniels. Be startable. Shane, what's good, bro? What's good, bro? Thoughts on Keon Coleman? I think he'd be wide receiver one in the offense. I like Keon Coleman. I think there'll be some point in time where he looks really good at times this year. My concern is that they signed Curtis Samuel. That was a really good signing for them as far as like a PPR guy. And then obviously Dalton Kincaid's going to get some more work. So I think Keon Coleman's going to have a role. I probably was a little too ambitious on what his role would look like before Curtis Samuel got there. So to me, I think that he'll be a guy probably around a 700-yard marker. I'm probably going to miss on like my earlier take on Keon Coleman and have to kind of rebound a little bit on that, pull it back a little bit. I think Curtis Samuel is going to be a 70 to 90 catch guy. Keon Coleman's probably going to be somewhere like the 50 catch range, 700 yards. So I don't know if he'll be the wide receiver one in the offense unless he just like massively clicks. But I think over the next, I think at some point in time this year, he's going to look amazing. Some point in time, he's going to be amazing. Jahan, what's the most embarrassing thing you've done on a date back in the day? Most embarrassing thing I've done on a date? That's a weird question, bro. Like most embarrassing thing I've done, probably like had some food stuck in my teeth or something, you know what I mean? Or like something like that where you're just not paying attention. Um There was one time I didn't close very well. It's like one of the very first dates I went on. I didn't close very well. I took this girl. We went to dinner, and yeah, like went in for the hug, and then she was like staring at me, giving me the eyes of like I want something more, and I didn't do anything. I just like walked away. So I don't know if that counts, but like, yeah, date. I don't really have too many like embarrassing shits on dates. Like maybe, like I said, maybe some like food in my teeth or something, or like something on my face, or I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of like nothing too embarrassing to happen on a date. I probably have some embarrassing shit happen, but I'm also the kind of person like I don't really care. I don't really care. I don't really care. Sleeper blanked out again. Yeah. Hopefully you can delete the app and restall. Sleeper, fix your app, man. If you watching, fix your app. Fix your app. Three flex spots for wide receiver, running back, and tight end. Okay, bet. Yeah. So for sure, I would prioritize getting positional players. If you happen to just get those guys, that's fine. That's fine. I started the run on quarterbacks. That's crazy. So another key piece of advice here that I've always found is like, there's nothing bad with like getting your guys here too, but don't be too when a run is happening, I would say don't be too reactionary and looking like, oh man, there's nothing here. I would say don't be too reactionary, and also don't forget, like, if it's your opportunity to start a run, you can start a run. Just because players are going in the draft doesn't mean you have to like be scared of like, oh, these players are going right now. Oftentimes it happens with tight ends in single QB leagues. It happens with tight ends a lot. All right, so let's see what backs are still here. Still some decent backs here. I'm gonna go Najee right now. And I got three receivers already. Kind of like Godwin or Kirk here, or Terry McLaurin. I'm gonna get one more back though, just in case Najee is ass. Like I'm anticipating. I'm probably gonna be wrong on him. Like I am every single year. I'm wrong on him. Let's go, Dave Montgomery. I never really take him in drafts, but I don't mind it here. I don't mind it here. Justin Henry, appreciate all your work. I'm new to the channel. What's a good way to join and compete in any league with you if that's possible? Tony, appreciate you subscribing and being new to the channel. What's good with you, man? And hopefully you stick around all season long, man. I do a lot of dope stuff on here, not just mock drafts, but we talk strategy on here. I'm not the kind of guy that's just going to be like, hey, you have to stay until the end to find out my pick on who to take. You know, like that's not what kind of content I give out. I try to give out informational, sometimes some edgy content too. And a lot of what I say is kind of contrarian to what most people say, right? So you're going to find a lot of like different takes and strategies. My whole goal is to win your league. It's not to like drop a whole lot of views, or my goal isn't to like just act like I know what I'm talking about. I really try to give you guys insight. I break down every single game from a fantasy aspect during the season. I give you all this year. I'll be giving you guys rankings and tiers throughout the season. We go over pickups, trade talks, buy low, sell high opportunities, playoff strategies. So you're going to get a lot of information here when it comes to like football, when it comes to betting, even like if you do player props. So yes, a lot here in store for you if you do join the channel and stick around for a while. And then as far as getting in a league with me, right now the only league I have available, we have 11 out of the 14 spots are filled up right now, is a league for Patreon, people who join the Patreon, and then people who are subscribed, who are members to YouTube, right? So if you're a member, you had early access to get into a league with me. I'm going to do the same thing on my Dub Club. So you'll see down here, like rolling at the bottom of the screen, there'll be like Dub Club. I'm going to do a thing for Dub Club members too to sign up in a league with me, probably win like $100 or something like that. For the people who join my Dub Club and are part of the Dub Club, I'm going to give out a prize. So yeah, a lot of ways. There will be more ways to join leagues with me, but most of it's going to be behind like for members or subscribers and shit. So, you know what I mean? That's what it is. That's what it is. How do you feel about Paul George signing with the Sixers? Paul George, I mean, what has Paul George been in his career? One of the players that always looks like he's going to be better than he really is, right? So you got a guy that can't win a championship, a guy that isn't really part of a winning squad, going to another player who gets injured and has trouble for whatever reason getting that win, and that's Joel Embiid. Hopefully Maxey can carry these guys, but to me it seems like a lot of the same. Like, why? They're not going to win nothing. Will they be more entertaining? Yeah, but if you really ask yourself, this is gonna come off as crazy. But if you really, really ask yourself, Paul George is what, like 8 points more than Tobias Harris? Maybe a little bit better defender. Like Joel Embiid is the carrier. He's too ball dominant. Like I just don't see how that works and looks much better than what it was with Tobias Harris. I think it's gonna look a lot of the same, and we're gonna see Paul George kind of take a step back like Harden had to do. I just don't really see. I don't see the win. I don't see the win. I don't. J-Han just trying to change the convo, switch it up, something fun. Nah, hey, keep doing that, bro, because we gonna need some. Can't just do all football all the time, bro. You good. You good. What's your drink of choice? Back when I was younger, it was 7 and 7. I used to get 7 and 7s religiously. Long Islands and Adioses back in my clubbing days, or like vodka Red Bulls. Now, man, you got to become more like a whiskey guy when you get older. But I actually haven't had a drink in a while. So, and now even older now, red wine. You know, I could do red wine all day. So I don't really drink a lot of hard stuff anymore unless I'm just chilling or like maybe I'm out or whatever I got. But yeah, as I gotten older, red wine is like probably what I drink if I'm a drink now. If I'm out, maybe a beer, like, you know, whiskey or something like that, bourbon. But yeah, I don't really drink. I try not to drink a whole lot as of late. I screwed up taking Kelsey. Nah, you good, man. There's no such thing as a screw up. Like all these, if you think about it, in your draft, you're gonna have some misses, no matter what. There's no perfect draft. You're gonna have some misses. You're gonna have players that get hurt. You're gonna reach on some players. There's no screw up. All these guys that we've taken so far are talented players. So we have players that we miss on and that go later that end up making up for the value. So don't ever think you screw up in a draft because you took a player that you wanted, or maybe you could have got him a little bit later. If you wanted Kelsey, he might not have been there for you later, you know? So I always recommend this. In your draft, it's your draft. You know what I mean? Like, it's your fantasy team. So there's no such thing as like a perfect draft. Most of the time, the team that you draft is not the team you win the championship with. That should be a fucking quote. Anthony, what's good, bro? I was just talking about you earlier in these ESPN drafts. We got to get you on one, man. Salute. Appreciate you tapping in. Q was popping. He said, "What's up, J-Han? How you feeling today?" Feeling great, bro. It's my pick. Feeling great today, man. Feeling great. So no complaints on my end. No complaints here, bro. Not really feeling any receivers right now. Running backs. Let me see what tight ends are left. Ferguson. I've been getting a lot of Ferguson too. I'm gonna go Goddard here at tight end. I think he's a steal. And then I'm gonna take. I got Najee and Demont. I need a little bit of upside at running back. I'm gonna take Tajay Spears. Need a little upside. So I need to grab another receiver, and I need to grab another running back at least. At least another receiver, maybe two. Maybe two. Frankie, man, before it was commercials and football. No, it's commercials, girl, and football. Can't do 3 things. Yo, it's always a lot, bro. Do you think A.J. Brown can have a similar season to Keenan Allen with Kellen Moore as Eagles offensive coordinator? Yeah, bro. Yeah. I say this. A.J. Brown could have a better season than we think. He got the contract. Him and Devontae both got the contract. So with Saquon in the backfield, things are going to open up. I hope you guys realize that. Like, Saquon is going to open up things. And like you guys talked about with Kellen Moore, they're going to push the ball downfield a little bit more. So while I think Jalen Hurts may regress on the rushing touchdowns, I think he might become more of a passer this year. The only thing with him is he doesn't throw the deep ball very well. You know, like he can throw it, but he's not Justin Herbert with the deep ball. So I think Kellen Moore is going to get this thing moving. And we're going to have weeks where we see Devontae Smith do well. We're going to have weeks where we see A.J. Brown do well. But I think A.J. Brown's going to be in for a monster year this year, if he can stay healthy. What's your rankings at the turn of A.J. Brown, Puka, Barkley, J.T. Gibbs, and Garrett Wilson? And is it okay to draft Barkley and A.J. Brown? So, Tony, I think A.J. Brown or Barkley is the one I want the most out of these three, or out of these each of these three groups, right? The receivers and the running backs. So I think I would want A.J. Brown. I want Barkley. I don't mind drafting both of them on the same team because it makes, I talked about this on a different stream too. It makes your team balanced. Like for everything that everybody talks about, like stacking with quarterbacks and wide receivers, what if Saquon has 4 rushing touchdowns and you have A.J. Brown and you have Jalen Hurts and Saquon has 4 rushing touchdowns? Now you missed out on the passing with not just A.J. Brown, but then also Jalen Hurts. Or what happens when Jalen Hurts gets hurt? Now you miss out on Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown production. So I don't really like stacking quarterback and receiver as much as I'd prefer even doing like running back and wide receiver. I don't mind it. I'm not looking for it though. But in this case, I wouldn't mind taking A.J. Brown and Barkley if they're both there. So I'm not going to avoid Saquon to just take JT or Gibbs just because I have A.J. Brown. I think it actually balances your team out. Maybe it limits your upside. Like you can't get 4 passing touchdowns from Hurts and 4 receiving touchdowns from A.J. Brown, right? That's not the case. But you could have 2 touchdowns from A.J. Brown and another one rushing from Saquon and feel really good. You know what I mean? So, and then you could have another game where you have Dak Prescott as your quarterback and he throws 5 touchdowns. So I always kind of thought the stacking thing was weird. I think maybe it applies more in best ball, and it's been transferred now over to redraft. And it doesn't apply the same in redraft. You don't need to stack in redraft because it gives you a little bit more upside, but it also lowers your floor a lot. Like imagine if you stacked last year, I talked about this too. Imagine if you stacked Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, right? You stacked that in redraft last year, you're probably like, damn, I could have went a different direction at quarterback, you know? It limits your upside when you just it increases your risk, when you stack your receiver and quarterback. So running back and receiver, it doesn't, if Saquon goes down, it doesn't really affect A.J. Brown. If anything, it might make his value go up and vice versa. I need a spot in one of your leagues. Ryan, you get a spot in my league, bro. Are you on the Patreon? I dropped the link in the Patreon. If you're not in the Patreon, join the Patreon. It's in there. So only other way, I'm trying to think of a way to get that to you. Hit me on Twitter, bro. I got you. Hit me on Twitter. Shoot me a message on Twitter, Ryan, and I'll send you the link to it. But you get a spot in the league for sure. Wide receiver is deep. There's still good receivers. Yeah, there's some good, I would say good upside receivers available late. They're a little bit more risky, though. How is this mock going for you? I would say I like the mock. The only thing maybe I could have did differently was take a receiver instead of Dallas Goedert. I kind of wanted to lock in. He was the tight end I wanted out of these guys, so I wanted to lock that in. But other than that, I feel good about this. Dak and Kyler with Breece, Najee, and Dave Montgomery. I got good upside with Brown and Cup and Debo, so I feel real good about this. The only thing is if like Cooper Cup, he's been injury prone over the last year or two. If he gets hurt, I'm kind of, I'm at a loss there. Kyler and Dak, I'm not worried about either of them. Najee, if he's not good, I mean, I got him as like the 20th back off the board. So yeah, I feel good about this team. And then I'm gonna finish it out with some receivers. Take Romeo Doubs here for a nice floor play, and then I'm gonna look for some upside here. Look for some upside. I think I saw some upside already. So maybe Mike Will. I'm not taking Mike Will, bro. Judy's a little bit of upside to me. I'm taking Jerry Judy. I like Curtis Samuel there too, though. How y'all feel about the draft? How y'all feel about the draft? I will rate the teams. This is Superflex, and I will rate the teams. Jay, what's your favorite thing to do when you go out to a beach or a bar or something? I haven't talked a whole lot about like my personality, man. Like a lot of people are, that stream, they're really entertaining, right? Like you always got people around you and shit. One of the things I value most in life, bro, is just being chill and like having my mental peace and living in the moment. You know what I mean? So when I go to a bar, when I go to a beach, man, I'm there for that time and that time only. Like I really just appreciate every moment that I'm in. Like even right now, I'm not really worried about a whole lot of other stuff that I got going on because I'm here doing this mock with y'all. So I really do try to like appreciate the moment, man. Just appreciate being here and at the beach. A lot of times I'm soaking in the vibe. I'm soaking in the fact that like, this life, you only get one of these lives, man. And I'm getting to spend time with whoever I'm there with at the beach or at the bar with. And just, I tend to show a lot of appreciation. You feel me? So, maybe that's a corny ass answer or whatever, but like that's me. I find a lot of value in like just appreciating where you're at in the moment, in the space that you're in, the energy that's around with you, and making the most of that moment. So, when I go to the beach, a bar, when I kick it with my friends or whatever, I'm there to make the most of that shit, man. Make the most of that. Whatever that means to you, like that's how I do things. So if you had to travel anywhere in the world, where are you going? I'll get back to that. Let me rate these teams. Actually, I love Hawaii. So Hawaii obviously is like my go-to spot, but I want to go Europe sometime too, or like Australia. I want to see some other countries, Africa. Like I want to go travel overseas, get out of the US for a little bit. But Hawaii is probably like, if I'm going anywhere, it's for a vibe. Yes, we will run another one. Yeet man, we're gonna run another one up. We are. You guys drop what you want in there. You want Superflex, you want 12 team, 14 team, 16 team, 18, 10 team. You want to do it on Sleeper, you want to do it on Yahoo. Put it all in one comments. And I'm going to pick out somebody's. All right. So put what you want. Put what you want. Or if you want me to draft from a certain spot, if you want 3 flexes, you want 2 receivers, try to put it all in there. The most complete ones are going to be considered. All right. The most complete comments are going to be considered. Sleeper, 12 team, super flex. Like, try to give me as much as you can. Otherwise, I'm just going to do some, one of the ones that I pick. You want specific, get there. All right, team 7. This is super flex. Yes, this was super flex. Got to rate the teams. I will. I like it with some of the values you got, Adam. Adam over there getting value. What's your expectation with Diggs and Houston to be the wide receiver 1? Wide receiver 1. Man, I don't like my team first draft taking a tight end early. It's good. This is why you mock, right? You may not have tried that out in a different league. So it's also good to try different strategies and see how your team looks. So I'm going to go over the teams right now and give you my thoughts on them. Make sure you guys run up the comments with the draft type, and I'll get to it. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert at quarterback. Very good quarterback play there. Harrison, Waddle, Rice, and Coleman. You got a lot of question marks there with Harrison and Rice. And even Coleman. Your backs are decent with Etienne, Cook, Jonathan Brooks. You just got a lot of question marks on this team, and Dalton Kincaid, a lot of younger players, which I don't mind. It's just the question marks associated with them, right? And you stacked up Coleman, Kincaid, and Josh Allen. So I don't really like this team. I think there's good value here. I just don't like the team because there's a lot of risk built into it. If it hits, it could be a playoff team, but I think this is more of an outskirts team unless something happens. Giving it a 7.7. Ty, you have McCaffrey, Mostert, Elliott, Jerome Ford, good values there. Mike Evans, Devontae Smith, Keenan Allen. With David Njoku, you got Anthony Richardson and Kirk. You got good balance there at quarterback, upside and floor. Plus Joshua Palmer, Gabe Davis down there, some upside at number one receiver, at least in Palmer's probably the one right now. This is a good team. I get this at 8, bro. This is an 8, maybe 8.1. This is only thing is maybe you might have been, you don't know this coming into the draft, but you might have been able to get away with getting Anthony Richardson at your next pick because he already had a quarterback. So you might have been able, I mean, you probably got the player in Evans you wanted anyway there. So it's a good draft, 8 to 8.1. Jacob, auto draft. I don't rank auto draft teams, but I think you were trying to be in the draft, so I'll give it to you. You don't want to. This isn't a good team in my opinion. This is all right. This is like 7.5. Auto draft, you get a 7.5. If it says auto draft or you leave, you get a 7.5. Bijan Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, Derrick Henry, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf. Very good job there. Stafford and Will Levis. I like the quarterback play there. You got Evan Ingram, James Conner as a backup. Addison is your fourth. You probably didn't need 2 tight ends. I want to grab the other positional players, but if your bench is deeper, I don't mind that. Dalton Schultz and then Geno Smith. Geno Smith's a good one too. You have 3. I like this strategy too, what Teddy did, right? If you avoid getting a elite quarterback, so say you miss out on like in a Superflex league, say you miss out on Lamar or you miss out on Hurts or you miss out on Josh Allen or whatever. I really like the strategy of getting 3 middle tier quarterbacks and having 3 options. Because if Geno hits and Will Levis hit, you're good. If Stafford and Will Levis hit, you're good. And you could play matchups with this as well. Like say they play a weak defense or something. I really like the strategy of getting 3 mid-tier quarterbacks if you wait. I love this because you can get Lawrence, Stafford, Rodgers, Levis, Geno, Russell Wilson. Like there's a lot of different options towards the end of your draft. So Teddy, I really like the strategy here. I like this team a lot, actually. This is a 8.3. This is a really good team, Teddy. I like it. Hurts and Goff with Garrett Wilson, London, and T. Higgins. You did good there on the receivers. Trey McBride. So running back. You did good on the running backs too. Stevenson, Moss, and Brian Robinson. Only thing is you don't have a whole lot of upside there, but Stevenson might be able to return you some value. Zach Moss can return you some value. I like this team too. This is an 8 to me, bro. You did a good job. Even kind of going 0 RB, you did good here. I think you did good with this draft with your spots. Good job. You got some good upside and good floor there. And like this is impressive because you reached on tight end. You took a quarterback early. I think you did really well here for yourself with how you drafted this team. You took some upside with like Wilson and London and T. Higgins, but then you got good floor here with like, I think Stevenson will probably be a floor play. Goff is a floor play. Christian Kirk is a floor play. Even a guy like Deontay Johnson's a good floor play. You got some upside if Dowdle takes starting reps. Like I think you did a really good job with this draft. This is an 8.4. I'll change that. That's an 8.4. Good job. I like how you drafted this team. More so than even the players. I like how you approached this draft. Where you took good floor with upside, and then you got mega floor down here and even got a little bit of upside later on. Like I like how you went about that draft. That's a really strong draft in my opinion. Good job. Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Godwin, and Brian Thomas. So good receiver play here. Really good receiver play here. Good job getting Godwin in the 8th. I love that. You got Trevor Lawrence, Baker, and Russell. Same thing as Teddy. Did a good job here. Ryan getting those quarterbacks later. Jacobs and Mixon with Austin Eckler and J.K. Dobbins. This is a strong team too. I get this like an 8.2. This is a strong team. You got strong tight end play with Laporta. I don't think this is a good team. Ryan, good job. Auto draft. Kyle, I think you were drafting, so I'll rate it. You got Jefferson, Nakua, Zay Flowers, and J-Mo with Kyron and Devon Achane. You got Jaden Daniels and Rodgers, so you got floor with upside. Javonte Williams. Brock Bowers, your tight end with Cole Kmet. I give this is like 8, 8.1. It's more of an 8 to me. It's a good team though. Good team. I think you have a couple question marks, a couple riskier picks than you need to, but awesome upside here. If it hits, you got awesome upside with your running backs in the 3rd and 4th round. Good job. Chino, you got CeeDee Lamb, Diggs, Xavier Worthy, Sutton, and Watson. I would have preferred to see a stronger number 3 receiver there. Tua and Deshaun, question marks there at quarterback, but if Deshaun hits, this will be a nice team. Aaron Jones, kind of a riskier second running back for where you got him. But if he hits, he could be a top 15 guy too. Taylor, Edwards, and Kendra Miller. Not really a fan of this team. I think there's too many question marks. I like the pillar with CeeDee Lamb, but and I get how you said with Kelsey, you took him a little earlier than you wanted to, but I don't really like this team, just to be honest with you. It's like a 7.6. St. Brown, Pittman, Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett, Curtis Samuel. Good job on the receivers. CJ Stroud and Caleb Williams. Then you got Rashad White, DeAndre Swift, Zamir White, Singletary. Good job. You got all starters there. And then TJ Hawkinson, you're going to be waiting on him. TJ Hawkinson, not expected to be back at least until a portion of the season, so be careful with that. I think this is a pretty good team, Sonny G. I would have liked to see like there was either a stronger running back or like a stronger wide receiver 3. Like that's where I'm at. Rashad White has a couple question marks, but if he hits, this is going to be a strong team. Same thing with DeAndre Swift. So this isn't a bad team. Caleb, you need Caleb to hit in this one. I give this like this is like a 7.9 to me. 7.9, Sonny G. Cody, you got Chase, Cooper, Ridley, JSN, Hollywood. Good job there at receiver. You got Jordan Love and Bryce Young. Really big question mark there with Bryce Young. Saquon, Ken Walker, Tony Pollard, Chase Brown. Good job on the running backs there. You got some upside and floor. Only thing is, you could have addressed that quarterback way different. Like you would have took Geno there, bro. If you would have took Geno there instead of Bryce, I'm having a way different conversation with you right now. But in a Superflex league, you absolutely need to get 2 rock solid starts. I think Bryce will be better. Now, could he be a top 15 guy? Potentially. But why do that when Geno's right there? You know, you don't have to put yourself through that kind of risk. So I don't think it's a bad play if Bryce Young hits. It's just you put yourself in a lot of risk with a team that's really strong. Like you got to think, you already have good upside with Amari Cooper, with Chase, with Walker, with Saquon, Jordan Love, like Calvin Ridley. Like you gave yourself some upside already. No need to take that risk on a starting player, which your quarterback is a starter for you in Superflex. You want that to be your starter. Lamar and Purdy, good job there at quarterback with Gibbs, Kamara, Jalen Warren, and Charbonnet. Okay, decent there. Nico, George Pickens, Jaden Reed, good job. D-Hop, Jacoby Myers. This is a pretty good team too, Tucker Jones. Gabe, right? This is a pretty good team. So I get it's like an 8.1, 8.2. I like this team. Receiver, your third receiver, Jaden Reed, you get some upside there. Second running back, or third running back is Jalen Warren. So you got 2 backups at your RB3 and RB4 spot. I would have liked to see you grab somebody that had a little bit more. I think Jalen Warren should be fine there for where you got him, actually. So maybe if you would have got like a Jerome Ford or Brian Robinson, I'd have felt differently, but Jalen Warren's not bad there. He was an RB26 last year. So, and then for my draft, I think I did pretty good. Breece Hall, Najee, David Montgomery, and Spears. One of those backs would have to hit. I feel like I got a pretty good carousel for like RB2. Not certain on any of them. And then AJ Brown, Cup, Debo with Dobbs. I could have been stronger at the 4th receiver, but I feel like I got some good floor with Dobbs, good upside with Judy. There's a lot of risk with both of those guys this year. And then Dallas Goedert, if he hits, could be a decent value there, but maybe I could have got a tight end earlier. I like this spot. I got quarterbacks. Maybe waiting on quarterback would have been better for me. I normally do, but I feel like it's a decent team. Give me an 8.2. I feel like I'm one of the better teams in the draft. How you guys feel I did about the rankings? Everybody in on the rankings? All right, what do we decide on? And I'm going to get this thing running. Superflex, sleeper 10-man, 18-man, 3 wide receiver. I rated the teams. Hopefully you like the ratings. Superflex, 3-team, 12, sleeper. Okay, we just 3 flex. So you guys want more flex options, it looks like. Sleeper, 10-team, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex. I'm going to do more flex for sure on this one. 19-team, goddamn. Let's see. In the late rounds, what's your rankings for Geno, Rodgers, Stafford? Geno, Mayfield, Stafford. I'm putting Deshaun back there. Levis is up there too for upside. Rodgers is after Stafford and Geno and Baker. Those 3 are the same. Geno, Stafford, Mayfield are similar tier. Deshaun, Levis, and Rodgers are in the next tier. Rodgers is probably the safest. Deshaun and Levis offer upside.